Dawn creeps over the Himalayan spine in ribbons of blue fire, tracing the frost-bitten faces of Maya's team as they prepare for the final ascent. The radios hum softly, voices from base camp warning of incoming weather, but the wind swallows their concern. Maya tightens her harness, her breath rising like smoke against the void. "There's still time," she whispers, half reassurance, half defiance. Ethan glances at her, hearing thunder in the distance that sounds too near, too deliberate. The mountain looms above them, an ancient witness, unmoved by ambition. Beneath the calm sky, the air feels wrong, charged, electric, whispering secrets only the doomed can hear. A storm gathers beyond the horizon, invisible but already present, like a thought no one dares to finish. By mid-morning, the trail narrows into a spine of exposed ice, the knife edge. Below lies a mile of air. Above, a fading patch of blue. Ethan adjusts his grip, muttering that the wind feels wrong. Maya's response is simple. It always does. Lara's camera hums softly, recording their words for posterity or for evidence. Radio chatter bursts again. A warning from base camp, half lost to static, calling their names with urgency. Yuki frowns. Pressure's dropping faster than forecasted. Oleg's eyes flick toward the summit, unreadable. The air thins, the rope creaks, and somewhere in the distance, thunder cracks like a warning shot. But Maya keeps climbing, her breath measured, her mantra unwavering. There's still time. The slope steepens. Samir's radio flickers, voices calling out coordinates, then a scream, abruptly cut. No one speaks. The world around them feels hollow, as if sound itself hesitates. Lara's camera light dies. She curses softly. Oleg drives his axe deep into the slope, muttering a prayer in Russian. The group pauses, breath ragged, as the first snow begins to fall. Soft, deceptive, innocent. Maya checks her altimeter, still rising. The wind hisses around her like a whispering crowd. Ethan leans close. "We're losing daylight early." She nods but keeps moving, her gaze fixed upward where the summit gleams through thin fog, like a mirage that refuses to vanish. The storm's breath thickens. Their footsteps vanish behind them almost as soon as they're made. The path to retreat is erasing itself. Yuki's gloved hand trembles on the rope as he checks vitals. "Oxygen levels are dropping dangerously," Ethan argues with Maya. The words muffled by wind, the meaning unmistakable. "Turn back." But Maya's eyes are fixed on the slope, her mind elsewhere, haunted by a past failure she refuses to repeat. The mountain moans under shifting ice, deep, guttural sounds that travel through their boots like heartbeats. "There's still time," she insists again, louder this time, as though trying to convince the mountain itself. By afternoon, the light dims into a gray bruise. The radios are alive with fractured voices. Winds increasing, visibility dropping. Abort, if possible. But Maya doesn't answer. The group moves slower, now tied together by faith and fraying rope. Samir's hands shake, his antenna cracks. Lara records one last frame before her camera freezes, whispering, "This is it. The point of no return." Ethan looks at Maya, his voice barely audible. "You're chasing ghosts." She exhales frost and whispers again, "There's still time." The words vanish into the storm, carried away like a promise already broken. By noon, the sky curdles from blue to slate. A low hum vibrates through the ridge, the voice of the storm finding its tongue. Maya leads with deliberate steps, her body rigid against the wind. Ethan checks his altimeter. The numbers flicker, unreadable. The radio crackles with the urgency of base camp, but the signal fractures into ghost syllables. Lara keeps filming, her voice trembling, visibilities collapsing. Snowflakes sting their faces like shards of glass. Yuki warns of hypothermia. Samir insists the storm will shift east, quoting forecasts now meaning. Oleg's silence deepens. When lightning flashes above them for a moment, the entire mountain blazes, every mistake illuminated in white. The wind rises into a scream. Tents far below tear from their moorings, carried into the abyss. Maya halts, staring into a wall of white that devours everything. Ethan steps beside her, shouting over the gale, "We're out of time." She doesn't respond. The radio bursts alive again, a voice pleading, distorted. "Turn! Back! Now!" Samir swears he can still see sunlight breaking through the storm. No one else can. Yuki presses his hand against the ice face to feel for vibration. A deep tremor runs through it. Something above is breaking loose. Oleg mutters it's begun as a rumble echoes across the valley. They press on through half visibility, reduced to shadows tethered by a single rope. The mountain slope feels alive, shifting, sighing beneath their boots. Lara's camera sputters back to life, catching flashes of panic and motion. Ethan shouting orders, Yuki steadying Samir. Oleg looking upward with grim understanding. Maya forces her pace, her breath ragged through the mask. Each gust of wind howls with the sound of falling rock. The storm is not coming, it's already here. Through the static, a voice crackles faintly. "White out. You won't make. Then silence." The team moves anyway. Swallowed whole. Night falls early, not from the sun, but from the storm itself. The light collapses into gray. Maya checks the route with trembling hands, her compass spinning uselessly. Ethan kneels to anchor their position, shouting to stay roped in. Lara films what little she can. Blurred faces, frozen eyes. Yuki's breath comes in labored bursts. Oxygen is running low. Samir insists they can reach the next ledge before nightfall. "Night's already here," Oleg replies quietly. The wind drowns everything, carrying the smell of ozone and fear. Somewhere beyond sight, an avalanche growls, unseen but imminent. The storm's full fury arrives, a living wall of white, screaming with the voices of shattered ice. The team anchors themselves, faces buried in snow masks, bodies shuddering with cold. Maya's radio slips from her harness, skidding across the ice, its light blinking red. Ethan lunges and grabs it just before it vanishes into the void. The voice from base camp, faint but desperate, cuts through. "You have to descend. The front's closing, it's over." Maya clutches the radio. Eyes wild. "No," she says. "There's still time." Lightning flashes again, and for a breath, the ridge seems to split the heavens. Human ambition clawing into a god's domain. By dawn, the ridge is gone, erased into an endless white. The team moves blind, each step guessing at survival. Voices carry only a few feet before the storm devours them. Maya calls for Ethan, hearing nothing but the low growl of the wind. Yuki signals to keep close, but the rope line twists in the gale, looping around unseen rocks. Samir's radio sputters, ghost voices whispering coordinates that no longer exist. Lara presses her camera against her chest to protect it. The lens fogged. The footage nothing but a blur of static and snow. Above them, thunder murmurs like a pulse, steady and cruel. Somewhere in that noise, Maya whispers the same lie she's told herself all morning. There's still time. The mountain feels infinite now. No up, no down, just the howl. Ethan shouts for direction, but his compass spins. North is meaningless. Yuki's hand grips his shoulder, urging patience, but panic trembles in both their movements. Maya presses ahead, convinced she sees the summit flashing through the storm. Lara follows, filming despite shaking fingers, whispering commentary for no one to hear. The rope between them jerks, Oleg slipping briefly, catching himself with a grunt that sounds like a warning. Samir's radio clicks alive again with a voice crying out for help. Not theirs, not anyone's they know. It fades into static, swallowed like prayer into the void. The rope line tightens suddenly. Samir has fallen behind. Maya halts, shouting his name, but her voice scatters like powder in the wind. Lara pans her camera into the white. Nothing. The rope jerks again, then slackens. A moment of silence so deep it feels like the mountain inhaled. Ethan moves back along the line, fighting gusts that claw at his jacket. Yuki anchors himself, hands bleeding from frozen cuts. "Hold!" he screams, but the word shatters. The rope goes light. Maya knows before she sees it. Samir's end of the rope, swinging free into the void. No scream, no farewell. Just absence, immediate and absolute. For the first time, no one repeats her mantra. The storm tightens its circle, pressing them closer together yet further apart. They build a makeshift anchor, clustering beneath a rock face half buried in snow. Ethan's voice trembles, anger wrapped in exhaustion. "He's gone, Maya. We should have turned back." Maya doesn't answer. Her face is blank, carved by wind and guilt. Lara films through tears, her camera frosting over with every exhale. Yuki forces the group to share oxygen, his calm collapsing with each breath. Oleg mutters prayers to the mountain, his words rhythmless and lost. The snow thickens, the world smaller. Lightning flashes through the white, revealing the summit, impossibly close, heartbreakingly distant. Time dissolves. They can't tell hours from minutes anymore. Lara's battery dies mid-recording. Her last words captured, "If anyone finds this, tell them we tried." The storm hums louder now, like machinery, grinding the world away. Yuki checks Maya's pulse. Too fast, adrenaline masking exhaustion. Ethan whispers a plan to descend when the wind breaks, though no one believes it will. Oleg stares toward the summit, his face serene in the chaos. "The mountain's awake," he says quietly. Maya exhales, barely audible. "Then so are we." The wind answers, tearing her words apart and scattering them into infinity. The wind doesn't relent. It sharpens. The ridge narrows to a blade of ice no wider than a boot. Oleg leads, his movements mechanical, a man walking inside a memory. Behind him, Lara mutters to herself, repeating camera notes long after the lens has frozen. Yuki's breathing is shallow, every inhalation a struggle. Ethan stays near Maya, watching her for signs she's slipping. Not from the ridge, but from reason. Below them, the abyss yawns black, endless, waiting. The rope tightens. They move forward, anyway. Ethan's voice cracks through the storm. "We can't hold this line." Maya ignores him. She points toward a shadowed rise ahead, a mirage of safety. Oleg shakes his head. "That's not shelter," he says. "It's a cornice." But she's already moving. Lara follows out of instinct, not belief. Yuki stumbles, barely catching his balance. A crack splits the air. The ice beneath Maya groans. Ethan lunges forward, catching her harness, yanking her back as the edge collapses into the void. The world explodes in snow and sound. For a heartbeat, she dangles above nothing, then gasps, alive, clinging to the rope. She laughs, wild and broken. "See?" She shouts over the roar. There's still time. They crawl now. No walking, no pride, just survival. The storm blurs the line between earth and sky until direction itself dissolves. Laura's camera lens shatters against the ice. She doesn't notice. Yuki loses a glove, his fingers bleeding black. Ethan keeps shouting coordinates, desperate for order, but the compass spins. Maya speaks only to herself, muttering through chattering teeth, her words more prayer than logic. There's still time. Oleg stops abruptly, his face slack. "Listen," he says. They all freeze. Beneath the wind, a new sound. The deep groan of the mountain shifting. It's not warning them anymore. It's claiming them. The ridge narrows again, a single knife of ice slicing through the storm. Maya leads, dragging the rope line, half delirious. Behind her, Lara collapses to one knee, sobbing from exhaustion. Ethan moves to help, but the wind tears at the rope, twisting it around his arm. Yuki calls out, his oxygen mask frozen, his words indecipherable. Oleg steadies them all, the last pillar of strength in a dissolving chain. Maya turns back, eyes blazing. "We're almost there," she insists, though there's nothing ahead but sky. Her voice carries over the wind, sharp, desperate, unforgettable. "We can't stop now. There's still time." Lightning splits the world open. For one breath, everything freezes in clarity. Faces, ice, madness. The storm seems to pause, inhaling before its next strike. Then, the mountain moves. A fracture splits through the ridge beneath them, roaring like thunder from the earth itself. The rope jerks violently. Oleg shouts something in Russian before the sound cuts off. When the snow settles, there are only 4. Maya screams his name, but it vanishes into the gale. Ethan pulls her back. He's hoarse. He's gone. She shakes her head, whispering the mantra that now sounds like a curse. There's still time. The wind howls its answer. No, there isn't. Morning arrives without light. The storm has stripped color from the world. Everything is silver and soundless. The survivors huddle beneath a half-buried ledge, waiting for dawn that doesn't come. Ethan's lips are cracked, bleeding when he speaks. "We can't stay here," he says, but his voice lacks conviction. Yuki checks oxygen. Almost gone. Lara holds her dead camera like a relic, whispering to it as though it could still remember. Maya stares into the storm, her eyes hollow yet certain. "We're close," she murmurs. "We can finish this." Ethan's laugh is a broken thing, short and hopeless. He looks at her and realizes she's not leading anymore. She's following something invisible. And it's killing them. The wind drops for a heartbeat. Deceptive silence. They take it as a sign. Maya stands first, swaying slightly, her rope dangling loose. "We move," she says, and steps out into the open slope. Ethan curses but follows, unwilling to leave her to die alone. Lara films again, the lens cracked, the image trembling with static. Yuki brings up the rear, whispering inventory to keep his mind sharp. "Every breath is ice." Each step feels like walking through water. The summit glows faintly through the blizzard, an illusion of heaven. When lightning flashes again, it reveals what they're walking toward, not the summit, but the edge. The rope jerks. Yuki falls to one knee, his oxygen hose torn loose. Ethan turns back, rushing through the gale to reconnect it. His gloves slip, his movements clumsy from cold. Maya keeps walking, oblivious. Lara screams her name. It vanishes instantly into the wind. By the time Ethan steadies Yuki, the line ahead has gone slack. "She's off the ridge!" Lara yells, horror strangling her words. They scramble forward, peering into the white. Nothing. Then, faintly, Maya's voice returns through the storm. "There's still time." It comes from below them, far too low. Ethan's heart stops. The rope between them starts to pull. Heavy, then still. They hold the rope in silence. Yuki shakes his head, whispering, "She's gone." Lara refuses to let go. She's still talking, she insists, though the wind is all she hears now. Ethan finally cuts the line. A motion that feels like amputation. The storm howls louder, as if enraged by their defiance. They retreat into the lee of a ridge, half crawling, half falling. Lara keeps muttering Maya's mantra under her breath. Her mind splintering. Yuki collapses once they stop, his hands raw, his breath uneven. Ethan sits beside him, watching the horizon for a break in the storm. There is none. The sky has swallowed everything. Night falls again. Ethan and Lara try to build a shelter from what's left of their gear while Yuki fades beside them, eyes half closed. The storm eases just enough for them to hear something below, the faintest echo of a human voice. There's still time. It could be Maya, or it could be the mountain itself speaking through wind. Lara stands, stepping toward the sound, tears freezing on her cheeks. Ethan grabs her arm, pleading, but she's already walking away into the dark. Her headlamp dwindles to a dot, then nothing. Silence folds around them once more, vast and merciless. Yuki exhales, whispering, "Now it's over." Ethan doesn't reply. He's still listening for that voice. By morning, the wind dies. Snow falls gently now, like ash after fire. Ethan opens his eyes to silence so complete it hums. Yuki lies still beside him, lips pale, frost tracing the curve of his breath, or what remains of it. Lara's headlamp sits half buried a few feet away, still faintly glowing, the only sign of her. Ethan's voice cracks when he speaks aloud, though no one answers. The mountain has devoured all sound, all urgency. He crawls from the drift, scanning the horizon. The storm has peeled away, revealing blue sky, too pure, too calm, obscene in its beauty. In that stillness, the enormity of what's gone sinks in. He is utterly alone, and the summit is still watching. Ethan moves slowly, searching the ridge for movement, for proof he hasn't become the last echo. The wind whispers through his hood, almost kind now. He finds Lara's camera half buried in drifted snow, its lens cracked, battery blinking red. When he presses play, static fills the air, then fragments of sound. Maya's voice saying, "There's still time." He drops the device, breath catching in his throat. He looks down the slope and sees faint footprints. Hers, maybe, or illusions shaped by wind. The line between hallucination and memory blurs until he can't tell which side he's on. Still, he follows the tracks. The trail leads him along the knife edge once more, narrower now, cracked by the storm's violence. Each step is deliberate, prayerful. Below, the valley spreads endless and indifferent. Ethan's oxygen is gone, his lungs burning like open wounds, but he keeps walking. He begins to hear them. Voices layered on the wind. Maya's command, Yuki's calm. Lara's laughter before the climb. It's memory, it's madness, it's both. The mountain hums under his boots, ancient and unbothered. He whispers back, "I'm here," as though the air can hear him. For the first time, "There's still time" sounds like surrender, not hope. By afternoon, Ethan reaches a small plateau, the remnants of their last camp. Torn fabric, a broken oxygen tank, the shredded prayer flags they tied before the push. He kneels beside them, brushing ice from a single glove he recognizes as Maya's. He whispers her name into the still air, expecting nothing. But then, faintly, he hears it again. The same voice from the camera, from the storm. "There's still time." It comes from nowhere and everywhere at once. Ethan closes his eyes, realizing it's not coming from the mountain, nor from ghosts. It's from inside him. A remnant of will that refuses to die, even when everything else has. The sky clears completely by dusk. The storm's final breath glitters in the air. A soft, crystalline drift. Ethan looks west and sees the sun sinking behind the peaks, bleeding gold across the snow. It's almost peaceful. He removes his mask, the air biting like knives, and smiles faintly. He understands finally what the mountain had been saying all along. It doesn't take lives, it keeps them. He exhales one last cloud of breath, watching it rise, dissolve, and disappear. The ridge glows like fire in the dying light, then fades into shadow. Above it all, the mountain remains silent, vast, eternal, unburned. 3 days later, the storm clears completely. Helicopter rotors carve through the thin air, carrying a search team up the glacier. The world is silent beneath them. No movement, no sound but the machine's hum. From above, the mountain gleams untouched, as if nothing ever happened. The rescue team lands near the knife edge, voices hushed, afraid to disturb what the mountain has claimed. Their first discovery: a single boot frozen mid-stride in the snow, rope still attached. Then another, a glove, a camera. The storm has ended, but it's left a graveyard carved in light. The air feels haunted, almost reverent, as though the peak itself is remembering. They find Ethan first, his body half buried near the ridge, arms folded across his chest as if at peace. His radio still flickers faintly, the last signal looping static and fragments of Maya's voice. One rescuer kneels, pressing a gloved hand to the frozen metal, eyes wide at the faint whisper of words. "There's still time." The others fall silent, the phrase echoing across the empty ridge. The team leader orders them to keep searching, but their movements slow, reverence replacing urgency. The mountain isn't cruel, is eternal, and eternity has no need for haste. Farther down the slope, they uncover the remnants of the last camp. A torn tent, 2 oxygen tanks, and a camera still clutched in a frozen hand. Lara Novak's final frame is burned into the lens, a lightning flash capturing Maya's silhouette against the abyss. The rescuers exchange glances, none daring to play back the footage yet. The air feels sacred, heavy with stories unsaid. The mountain stands over them, vast and indifferent. In the distance, clouds begin to reform, gathering quietly, as though preparing for another trial, another set of climbers who will swear they're different. At base camp, days later, the footage is played for the first time. The room fills with flickering light, static, snow, breath, fragments of voices. Then Maya's face appears, half covered in frost, whispering directly into the lens. "If we don't make it, tell them. There's still time." Her voice breaks halfway through, the rest swallowed by wind. The team watching says nothing. Outside, the same wind rattles the tents, carrying that phrase into the valley once more. It becomes both warning and elegy, the sound of ambition echoing forever against rock and sky. Months later, the documentary premieres. The footage, Lara's last work, becomes a monument to what the mountain took and what it revealed. The final scene shows the summit under a rising sun, serene, eternal, untouched by grief. Maya's voice closes the film. There's still time. Audiences hold their breath, transfixed by both beauty and warning. On the mountain itself, new climbers arrive at dawn, tightening their harnesses, staring upward. The sky is calm, deceptively clear. Far above, the knife edge glows under soft light, patient, waiting. The mountain remembers, but humans forget. That's why the story never ends.